Joining us in camp that evening was sambar hunting legend Peter Burke. Pete's a fascinating character in the Australian hunting scene, and he first hunted sambar in the Wanangata an incredible 44 years ago. After breakfast on Sunday, we found a quiet spot near the Dry River crossing to sit down and catch up for a chat. Pete, thanks for joining us. It means a lot to have you here. You and your family have contributed so much to the Australian deer scene over the years and continue to do so. You're a husband, a father, two-time ADA state president and a die-hard ADA man with 25 years involvement in hunter education. You're a conservationist and perhaps above all a mad keen hunter and self-confessed sambar addict. I know it's a tricky one, but what is it about these deer and these mountains that makes sambar hunting so special?
Oh, it's not tricky. You asked me that question and just the question itself lights me up, and it just brings everything alive in me, and hunting to me has just always brought everything alive, you know. And the deer itself on a one-on-one challenge is the best game animal we have in Australia, and the bush and all the habitat where they live in the forest in itself is just magic country. If it doesn't bring you alive, there's something wrong, and that's what deer hunting does. It just fires you up.
There's been some fantastic books written covering the formative years of sambar hunting in Australia. Your book, Quiet Footsteps, is a standout. After so many years in the bush and so many adventures, how did it feel to finally see it in print?
Oh, it was satisfying. It was really satisfying, because what it had been was a personal journey, and I got so much enjoyment out of writing it because it allowed me to relive all those experiences, and it really made me look at my life as a hunter, and it allowed me, above all things, to understand my life as a hunter a lot better.
I'm going to quote you here now. "The forest is my mistress over whom I have no control, nor do I desire to control her or my love for her. Over the years I've come to realise a simple truth. I am a deer hunter, and without the forest, I am nothing." You penned those words over 20 years ago, but now, at a time when our hunting ideal is under such constant threat, I think those two sentences are more important than ever. Pete, can you take us through the titanic struggle that hunters went through in your era to protect and establish the legacy of hunting here in the park, and also through the events of the mid-80s when all of this that we have today was under such a threat?
Really started in 1970 when the government of the day set up the Land Conservation Council of Victoria, whose role it was to look at all public land use in Victoria and to come up with recommendations as to the future management of that land. Up until then, all this country through here was state forest with very few controls and regulations. What actually happened was that the Land Conservation Council made recommendations for the creation of several national parks through this area. That later became the continuous Alpine National Park that we know today. Hunters were so concerned about the national parks being created because they knew that there was nowhere in the country where you could hunt in a national park. So the concern was, with the creation of the national parks, all this terrific deer hunting country would be lost. Hunters would no longer have access to it. Hunters were smart enough at the time and active enough at the time. There was two major organisations at the time, SSAA and ADA, who mobilised their members and put in submissions, became politically aware, spoke to the right people, did the right things. Then what happened out of that was Land Conservation Council came out with a recommendation of the establishment of some national parks which would previously been state forest. And their recommendation was that in some of those parks that deer hunting by stalking continued. This is the first time in this country where deer hunting was permitted in a national park. Now that by itself is one of the greatest victories that deer hunters have ever had. Well, the truth of the matter is that deer hunting will continue to be reviewed. It doesn't matter, in 100 years' time they'll still be reviewing whether we should be here hunting. But it's up to hunters to show that we should be here and not just take it for granted. If we take it for granted, it'll evaporate, it will disappear, and that'll be the end of us.
To close on, what are some quick tips for any new sambar hunters out there, and what are their responsibilities moving forward?
There are no quick tips, let's be honest, right? To become a good, or what I call a complete deer hunter, and sambar hunter, because we're talking about sambar hunter, It's a long road, but the best thing that a new hunter can do is to attend something like the ADA Hunter Education Course. That education course has been going now for over 25 years. It's so successful, it's been copied internationally, and they do the same style of course now in the United States. That's a big feather in people's hats. The next tip I'd have is join an organisation. There are plenty of hunting organisations out there who are prepared and do represent hunters, but the best thing a new hunter can get out of these organisations is they have a willingness to show you things, and an example is the ADA Western Port branch at the moment, this is why we're here, they're doing a branch hunt in here. What a wonderful opportunity for someone who's just taken up deer hunting to come and mix with other deer hunters and to find someone. There'll be someone there, because deer hunters are like this these days. It's not like it used to be where they didn't help you. These days they'll help you and they show you. That's a big thing. When we talk about the future, we've got to think about one thing only, I believe, and that's called respect. It's respect for the animal, it's respect for everyone else who uses the forest, and it really is that simple, because we all have, I believe we have a right to be here, you know, and I believe that people who drive four-wheel drives have a right to be here. If everyone behaves in the forest with respect to one another, but most importantly from the hunter's aspect, that we maintain the respect for that animal, because that animal that we hunt is the reason for being here.